Emma, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Absolutely fantastic. It's so fun to be able to sit down and have conversations with other creative people. I mean, are you the same type of student?
I'm sorry, what'd you say?
Are you the same type of student? In other words, if you when you get with another creative person, it's almost like, oh my God, they speak my street.
Yeah, honestly, it's incredible, especially like being a college student who also does music. Just collabing and talking with other artists, you think, oh my gosh, they speak the same language that I am, you know?
Yeah, because it's such a journey that so many of us do not understand. We just know that we keep answering the call every morning. We open our eyes.
Yeah, very true.
Being with John Legend, you talk about a guy that's opened up his eyes. Oh my God, what is it like to be in that moment?
Honestly, it's insane. Working with John, it's like a whole nother ball game that I've never experienced before, just because he's so well-rounded with music. Like he knows anything about everything, and he knows exactly what you like, what your strengths are, what your weaknesses are, what you need to work on. It's incredible.
One of the things in studying him and watching him and listening to him, it's almost like this generation. This is what it must have felt like when Marvin Gaye was here. When even the early days of Quincy Jones. Because but John is not afraid of anything. He steps forward and says, "Let me show you the way."
Yeah, it's insane. I loved how, especially watching now back at what he worked on with me and what he's working on with my other teammates. He knows exactly what they need to hear at that exact moment, and the way that he phrases his like his advice and his wisdom, it makes complete sense to whoever's listening to it.
What is that like for you when John has other students? And let me bring this forward in a way that in radio there's usually five people that a program director takes care of, and you do have those moments of jealousy when somebody's getting more attention. How do you keep your story straight and say, that's not my moment? He's working with them.
I probably only had to deal with something similar to that during the battles,
Mm-hmm.
because whenever you're in battles, you're working with a battle partner. And whenever you're going in, you hear, like, John's there to work with both of you, but, sometimes the spotlight isn't always on you at that moment. And he's trying to be fair to everybody and give everybody the exact attention that they need. So it wasn't like too hard for me to deal with that during battles, just because I know that John equally wanted to help my battle partner and I out in different ways. And we both wanted to accept his wisdom and his advice in any way that we could take it.
Yeah. As creative people as well as vocalists, you and I have to follow a strict plan of discipline in the way of protecting the music maker. How are you doing that in this day and age since you're out there now?
It's definitely something that I've never experienced before, being on The Voice, all of the social media stuff, taking care of your voice. There's a lot of like aspects that goes into it. Um, I definitely think also mental health is a
Yes.
big benefactor in it, because you're out there. For me, I was out there by myself at the age of 18. I was turning 19 while I was out there. So being away from home for such a long time was hard, but then I had to learn that this was my time to really work on myself and focus on myself, not only, vocally, but also mentally as well.
Let's take that self because a lot of listeners will go, "Oh, that's being selfish." That is not true. A creative person has got to be able to talk to the inner soul of creativity, and that's the reason why I do my morning pages when I write, and I do a defrag journal. Do you find yourself you've got to make that connection to that creative self? Do you not?
Yeah, I mean, I'm also a songwriter as well, so I kind of have to, daily check in with myself and think, where am I at today? Where do I feel? Like, what am I feeling today? Just like every morning taking that time to self-reflect and think, okay, this is where I'm at today. This is what I
Mm-hmm.
want to accomplish today. How am I going to like be the best version of myself and keep improving myself to feel even better by tomorrow?
You know, I'm so glad you brought that up because you took me right back to an interview that I listened to with Taylor Swift over the weekend. She says, these people judge me by my songs. All I'm doing is I'm thinking of what if this person was with me? What if I experienced this? And it's not I am, it's what if.
Very true. Yeah, because as an artist, you can say all day I am, but that's a very like That's a current feeling. And we as humans, we change all the time. So I love the whole perspective in songwriting. Like, what if this happened? What if, this thing took place? Because you can just think of all the different possibilities of what you could tell a story about.
Mm-hmm. Here's one thing that a lot of people do not understand about those that use their vocals as a tool is that we've got to be coached. And I mean, even after 43 years of radio, I still go get coached by people that have done the job and stuff like that. How important is it to you to have that vocal coach?
It's extremely important to me. I've taken private classical vocal lessons since the age of 6. So I'm still like a huge firm believer that you could always be learning.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't always have to be from the same person. Like for me, I had my one voice teacher ever since the age of 6. And then I went on to the governor's school for high school and I learned from 2 other vocal coaches. And you also work with vocal coaches and your actual coach at the voice. So you're getting bunches of different information and perspectives from different people. But whenever you hear those different perspectives, you get to try out a different perspective of your voice, like a different side of your voice, which I know that I appreciate a lot because that makes your voice, able to do whatever you want to sing.
Oh my God! You said governor's school. My granddaughter did governor's school in North Carolina last year, and
Oh, really?
this is a former introvert girl that has become a blossom, and it's just that people don't understand when you do that and you get that opportunity. Did you not grow in huge ways?
It was, yeah. I mean, it kind of like going back to what you were saying in the beginning. You're surrounded by all these creative people, not only vocalists, but, dancers and artists and visual
Yes.
artists and writers. And you're just immersed in this, creative like world and you're living amongst each other. It's truly like a different experience that I think that anybody who wants to, delve into their art, find their voice, find out who they really want to be in their creative process, I think that that is a great opportunity for
Yeah,
anybody.
yeah, and it's something that you don't sign up for. It's those that are teaching you and have been guiding you that sit there and put your name on the list, and you're just lucky enough to be on it.
Exactly. Yeah.
Wow.
It's insane.
Okay, one of the things that really inspires me about you, Emma, is the fact that you've got opera on as a success. I mean, I my life changed with opera because of Charlotte Church. What I mean, you've got to keep focused on opera. I love opera.
Yeah, it's honestly, it's kind of like I talked about on The Voice. It is such an amazing foundation that people look at it and be like, oh, well, that's stuff that they sing in, big concert halls. And, I just want to hear what's on the radio. But people also don't realize that a lot of the people that they hear on the radio, their roots are classical.
Hmm.
That's where we all started out. That's how you get your proper healthy training from. I mean, at least that's where I know that I got mine. And that's the arena that sparked my interest in music and my interest in voice, and that's where I found my voice. And it was only later on to where I thought, how can I develop that? How can I share to others that this training actually changes your life?
Hmm. Eddie Van Halen said, "I'm not doing anything different. This is exactly what Bach and Beethoven did. I'm not doing anything different."
Exactly. Yes, I love that.
Well, see, and that's what I love about music is it's the transition of music growing forward. So then how do you participate with that process, Emma?
So for me, it's huge to still, practice that classical training. I'm currently a sophomore in college, so I'm still, involved with the classical world. I still, keep in touch with my vocal coach, my vocal teachers, and I think it was only about 4 years ago to where I thought, okay, I feel like I've learned a good bit. I've mastered a good bit of my classical voice. I wonder what my contemporary voice can do as well. So especially whenever I was at The Voice, I was singing every day. I was working with vocal coaches who acknowledged my classical side, but they were also saying we need to, sometimes break down that perfection that you try to achieve whenever you have, a classical voice, and how can you apply that to this contemporary piece, this modern song. So it's an extraordinary process to go through.
You're in Lyman, South Carolina. This is going to go over Bill's head. This is going to go over anybody else around the nation. Okay, I got to ask you very personally, are you a tiger or a gamecock?
I'm a Gamecock.
Ah! You guys had a good
Yeah,
weekend, didn't you?
my dad is a huge Gamecocks fan. If we ever wear anything orange in the house, it is like strictly forbidden.
You know, one of the things that inspires me about you is that you understand the art of performance. So many people will get on to, you know, a singing show like this, and they haven't experienced the journey. And I mean, my God, you know, you sing at breweries, you sing at student showcases. I have to ask you, are you the rebirth of Dave Matthews? Because that man put in the hours when it came to being out there where real people are.
Oh my gosh, I love Dave Matthews. I'm so glad you brought that up. Um, I mean, it's kind of like you said. Throughout my journey, I've done and experienced so many different types of performance that I just feel like I have gotten this very well-rounded perspective of what performance is to me, and what game time is for me, what I feel whenever I walk onto that stage. And having all this experience, it really helped me whenever it was time to set foot on the voice stage, because I've gotten so many people that I've talked to like, Emma, you didn't look like nervous at all during your blind audition. It's because I was and I wasn't, in a way.
Mhm.
I wasn't, just because after singing with full orchestras and singing at ball games and doing all these different kinds of things, after a while you get comfortable in your own performance presence. It's like you walk on that stage and you just switch that nerve part of your mind off, and you're like, this is go time, this is the moment. But then the other part of me was nervous because I was like, oh my gosh, these coaches do not look real at all. These are like holograms in front of me. um, so it's just really your perspective and all of that. So
Man, walking out on that stage, those seconds before you physically walk out there is probably one of my favorite places, because it's a form of innocence, but at the same time, it has to be confidence. You've got to be able to take that next step where people begin to see you.
exactly, I yes, that's exactly how I felt. It was like you said, like a moment of just like innocent self-reflection, thinking about, okay, this is where I'm at today. I have worked hard for this. I've put in the hours, I've put in the wet, the sweat, the tears, all that good stuff. And then you just walk on that stage and you think, okay, I hope that whatever the coaches are looking for, I hope that I am that. I hope that they acknowledge that.
How do you learn to trust that? And the reason why is because inside our own hearts, we have our visions, but you've got to be able to relinquish that control into the hands of those that have lived it.
It's definitely, it was hard at first, because I mean, even growing up, you go to auditions and performances and all this kind of stuff, and you work hard for the things that you perform for. And at some points you can think, oh well, maybe I could have done better, maybe I could have done this. But I feel like the older that I've gotten, I've begun to trust myself more. I've begun to trust the universe more. And
Yep.
I think, okay, well, I am the best version of myself today. I'm in the best version of the song, the best help with this song. And I feel like truly I am proud of myself for how hard I worked for this. And I'm really hoping that this will be, what the coaches are looking for, what the coaches will be proud to have on their team. And
Mhm.
if they're not, then that's no burden against me, because I've worked my hardest, and that means that this opportunity wasn't for me. But that doesn't mean that after this, there won't be another opportunity waiting for me.
As a creative person, and you know that you plant songs in people's heads, I always feel like that as a regular listener of music and stuff like that, that I owe creative people some sort of royalty when I wake up in the morning and I'm singing their song. And it's like, oh my God, without this person, I owe them something. How can people give back to you? Because my God, you, Emma, you give so much to listeners.
That's so sweet. Um, I'm trying to think. Honestly, I've talked about this before with other people. It's just the uproar of support and love that I've received. It's insane. Not only from, immediate friends and family, but also, local support from the town that I've grown up in. I've also received messages from people, all the way in Canada. Like it's been a nationwide, uproar of love. And the best way for people to give back and to appreciate and love the artists that they appreciate is, send them a message,
Yeah.
post about them, share their music, share, any post that they made. You can write them a post, because seriously, I do read every single post that somebody writes or every comment somebody makes, and every single little one of those things just comes to show me and prove to me that somebody's acknowledging the hard work that I'm putting in, and that at the end of the day, it's worth it.
Well, let's talk about Blue Executive. Let's share that forward, because there could be some people that do not understand that you really do have a band back there.
Well, the Blue Executive kind of isn't a thing anymore. We broke up about
Oh no.
about a year ago, just because of personal reasons. Some people felt like it wasn't, in their journey to continue in the band, but that hasn't stopped me from working with bands. I still, I'm writing music. I'm still working with smaller bands within the studio that I work with. So that's what I really like about the studio that I work with, is that we have our showcases about 2 times a year, and whatever song that we get, whether it be original songs or cover songs, we put a band together within the studio, and then we get to work with them and perform that song. So I still have the opportunity to work with bands. So
See,
it's
I love that. I love that. And creative people that are listening, that are hiding in their bedrooms playing their guitars and things like that, need to understand that you can build your performance. You don't have to go create a band in order to find success. Just find those around you, do in the moment, and then grow from it.
Exactly. Yeah. You have to start somewhere, whether it be with somebody that you met at school, or, if you wanted to find a local studio or somebody that takes lessons where you take lessons at, like you want to say you're a pianist and you found another pianist and you guys wanted to start like a little piano duo. That could be the start of something great. You just have to let your creativity flow and to be confident in what skills you offer, and find somebody that has skills that match yours and complement yours.
Yeah. All right. You're here in the Carolinas. Barbecue is our big thing here in the Carolinas. Are you vinegar based or are you tomato based?
Vinegar based.
Yeah.
Yeah, my best friend works at a barbecue place, and they're vinegar based, so I can't turn back from
Oh
that.
my God. I love it that every town here in the Carolinas, man, everybody brags about their barbecue. And it's like, you just want to go from town to town to town to find out what is your secret.
Exactly. It's every place is different. Every place is so full of love and goodness. I love it.
It is love, isn't it? I mean, when they bring out their barbecue, there's passion in that.
Oh yeah, 100%. I know a barbecuist, and I think it's Central South Carolina.
Yeah.
He used to go to our church, and I remember one time he brought us some brisket that he had
Oh
made.
my God.
Oh my gosh, when I tell you that melted in my mouth, I was like, man, what did you put in this? And it's love and it's time. And I think that really applies to anything, like any craft.
You're so right about that. Emma, you got to come back to this show anytime in the future. The door is always going to be open for you.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
You be brilliant today and go Gamecocks, all right?
Go Gamecocks.
Bye.